Welcome to. Okay, I started on the wrong note because I made a mistake. I'm gonna cut that out. But welcome to another episode of Technically Together. And well, this time around, we just decided that this is gonna be our Valentine's date, and we're inviting you to have this date night conversation. So, without further ado,
I don't think you should cut that out. That was really cute.
what I fucked up 1 second in.
That's okay.
Podcast lesson number 5672.
Yes. Well, I am Man Bun Josh.
And I am matching man bun Josh. Just
Well,
for kicks.
just bun for you, I guess. But yes, we
if
are
you're technically together.
technically together.
I fucked up again. But such is life, ladies and gents. In podcasts and in real
No,
life
in
dealing.
Isa's life, that is what it is.
Hey, we deal.
No,
okay,
it's fine. You come
funny.
into every single situation with fresh, like completely fresh. Meanwhile, I come in already thinking these are the XYZs we need to have. But you come in completely fresh, so no matter how many episodes we have, you are fresh into the episode, so it's fine.
And I just feel like, mistakes are mistakes, and what matters is how you deal with them after, right? That's
Mhm.
always my perspective on life and on things. And also it's just funny because we came into this episode after like a tiny troubleshooting session. Something was buzzing with my mic again. I was just like, we were trying to cancel it out, and we figured out that it was my laptop being plugged into the power. So podcast tip number 1 in this episode, maybe it's the power.
Well, this is one
The
of those.
power.
This is going to get really like deep and nerdy, which is it's very relevant for how I look right now. But the laptop you're using only has so many ports. I want to say 2, right? So
No, it has 4.
it has 4, but still, like, I don't know what it is with the Macs or just in computers in general, because I've had this happen to me on multiple devices. When you're trying to route so much power through only so many ports, and even if you plug it in, sometimes that power current will affect other ports and all of that. So it seemed like there was interference, and we were hearing power is what we were hearing.
Yeah, let me translate that into something that can be applied as a life lesson. Sometimes, as yourself, you are given way too much power to do with it, to deal with it, that sometimes you just have to take back and take baby steps just so, like, the stuff you're given are tackled properly.
Okay.
And that is technically together. No, welcome to today's episode where we just decided that we're just gonna, talk about whatever stuff we decide. There were so many things we wanted to tackle, but then we were like, you know what? Let's make it into one of those like casual conversations that we have, because I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of tangents. And
you called it a Valentine's date. Would you really be okay with me showing up to a formal Valentine's date with this hair?
Babe, like I always say, we make our own luck, we make our own reality. So sure, I accept you.
I just thought, okay, so
I mean, it's not bad. I don't see why people are hating on it. I mean, you know that I always prefer your hair loose the way you don't want it. Like,
well,
you know me. I'm
because then
always like, it's so
it
cute,
just turns
your
out
hair
messy because I
moving.
want things as clean as
Your
possible.
hair's cute.
Well, I appreciate that. It's and the thing is, to be fair, right now no one is hating on this yet. I'm sure there.
Wait. For context, guys. For context, if you're listening to the audio podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and by the way, we are ranking in relationships in the Philippines.
We are. It's gonna tank now that I have
listening.
a man bun.
Yeah. No, I would like to think that people are not that surface level. No, they're here for the conversations. I will give them that. I have faith in humanity. I woke up and I'm not choosing violence today. I'm choosing hope. So yes, this episode will be on YouTube, the video version. Not that it adds a lot. I am wearing like makeup today just because, It's a date.
We can
I think.
this is I
I
so I
well,
put my hair up and you put makeup on, and this is our date.
I mean, we gotta get with the times, you know. Technically together on brand and stuff. Now all we need is for you to color your hair
for
green or
for
something.
the record, Issa knows, like, I would not do this if I was actually taking you out to, a nice restaurant. Let's say man bun does not go well. Man bun does not pair well with a wagyu steak. Let's just put it that way. So
I mean, for the record though, if that's what you wanted and you still like show up like in a suit but in a man bun, that's fine.
I think when the hair
Ooh, we
gets a
should
lot
do that. We
longer,
should go on a date.
I think when the hair gets a lot longer and I can actually, like, bun it up a little bit more than what I have
Yeah.
right now, it might be better. But right now it's
Wait,
just I've been cutting my own sides. The top, I don't have any shears and I wouldn't be able to do it myself. So it's just been getting longer. So
mhm.
earlier today I did a podcast with Nick for Pocket Now. And I mentioned that I tweeted out, like, should I tie my hair up and
Yeah.
potentially get hate from the comments or not? And Nick was just like, just do it. Like, just screw it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Whatever. And so I had to run a couple of errands. And instead of actually
Mhm.
putting my products in, I just tied it up and went out and did my errands. So
Well, speaking of hair, my hair is red now.
I like it.
Which is I've not talked about this on my other social media platforms, but I will. But I will. You'll hear it here first. This podcast is, after all, more of our behind the scenes, like casual real life thing. But this was part of a nice concept from Dyson where we're like, it's been so long and we've been like super stressed about the pandemic. It's time to take care of ourselves a little bit. And so, like, in celebration of Chinese New Year and everything, like they had me they asked me if I wanted to color my hair red, and I'm like, sure. And like, yeah, they're coming up with a red hair dryer to match my hair. So
Is that red hair
it
dryer
was
for Lunar New Year or is it just a new red?
no, it's just a general red version,
Cool.
but then it coincided with the Lunar New Year. And speaking of Lunar New, my dogs are barking because they're being
Because it's
dogs
New
right now.
Year.
So I apologize for that.
They're trying to greet everyone Happy New Year.
Yes, that is them. Those are my dogs saying Happy New Year to every single one of you guys who has supported this podcast. Thank you so much. And that wow, that was a spiel. Wait, what was I saying?
The red hair and
Oh
the
yeah,
hair
yeah.
dryer.
Speaking of Lunar New Year's, I guys, I just hit 50K, and like this is a significant milestone for me because
Applause.
when yeah,
Applause.
cue applause. We don't have that yet, huh?
If for whatever reason I have to edit this episode, I'll make sure it goes in.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a Foley artist and do the sound effects. Yeah, it's I don't normally like I do like tiny celebrations for sub milestones, but this is a big one for me because
Mhm.
I once sat down and said that, like, my main goal, my only goal was, and you know this, to be able to make it to the tech shows I wanted to cover as me.
Mhm.
And I looked up what I needed to do that. And I said, to start with, I needed 50K subs. And that was like the one and only number goal that I had for so long.
Yeah.
And like, it's just so weird that we're here. And it's I don't know. I feel very grateful more than anything. There's so many people who've been like supporting me. Like you, of course, you have helped me through this in way more things than I could ever like explain, you
Coffee.
know. Yeah, not just that. Removing the buzzing sounds.
Well, trying to at least.
No, but I mean it. I mean it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not the help. It's not just help in terms of like, okay, this is how you're gonna set up better.
Mhm.
But like, as a lot of you people have been listening to this show, you know how I can get so much in my head, and like it's just that mental help. That sounds a little weird, but like mental coaching and mental cheering on that has helped me so much. It's I feel lucky to, one, have a great support system, and then two, realize that there are so many people out there who just help cheer you on without you asking, and I
Yeah.
just feel very grateful for that. Like there are way too many people to like enumerate, and it's, I guess it's something I didn't expect, all this support from people I didn't know were cheering on for us. And like I just feel very appreciative of that.
Well, you deserve this milestone. You deserve all of this, honestly. And like as people were showering you with not only your congratulations, but also even appreciation because they are happy to have you in this space with them, and you deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. So yeah, I mean, it's a given for me to like. Well, I say a given because I love you. Like
I
I
love you too.
it's a given that I would support you. But like as I said at one point on Twitter, it's like, maybe we should normalize simping for our partners. Like I simp over you. Like that's kind of the easiest way for me to say it is like I want you to succeed and I want you to be and have the best, so that's why there's no reason why I shouldn't do my best to support you in any way, shape, or form. You could look at it from a technical sense of like I have this level of knowledge that can help you achieve your goal, so of course I want to share it with you. But even then, it goes beyond that. It's beyond that. It's I not only want to see you succeed, I believe in you to succeed.
Aw.
Yeah.
And that, folks, is a sneak peek at like the tiny little pep talks that I get, which has helped a lot, to
You
be honest.
solicited me one time in a clubhouse to give someone a pep talk.
Yeah. No, but it's like it's I don't know, like sometimes being in the position I'm in and having, I mean, for context, my background is that like I went to law school and like that was the path. It was I come from a household where it's be a professional or no go. My sister's a doctor, my brother's, gonna be a lawyer, and I was on the same path. And now being where I am and being in this very non-traditional path, I'm just very lucky that I have family who support me nonetheless. And I am very lucky that I have a partner who gets what I'm doing and supports me as well. And sometimes it's easy to just take that fact and assume that everyone has that.
Yeah, that's
Everyone
why
has
it's
that support,
yeah, that's why
you
I
know?
said like it's funny for me to say it's a given, but the reason why it's a given is because of how we feel about each other. But I would
Yeah.
assume I would hope I don't like assuming, but I would say I would hope that people in relationships who have partners would get that level of support from one another.
Yeah.
But as we've said on our journey of this podcast, like our situation is very unique. We
Yeah.
are in the same field. We help
Mhm.
each other because we can. We literally can help each other because we're in the same field.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm hoping that other people, other creators get the same support, but I'm realizing that sometimes even if like the people around them want to, it's a hard thing to understand. Like even with my parents, it took them a while to understand what I do, to
Mhm.
get like how they can support it and stuff like that. And I get that, sometimes when you're starting out, that's also the case. Even if you have a partner who wants to be supportive, like it's hard to understand how to do that in this very new way of like line of work.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and it
I've said that
takes
about you.
it's a learning curve. Yeah.
I've said that about you. Like when we first got together, I knew I had this sort of the moment that I knew our relationship would be something, if not just special, at least different from everything else that I've experienced, was when you gave me a pep talk when I was going through a thing. And only someone in a position that is similar to what I am in would be able to give that kind of pep talk. Otherwise, it's the generic "you'll figure it out, babe. You'll be fine. It's okay." Like, but no,
What?
you
Wait,
knew
what's happening to the head?
like you is it more pronounced now that I have like a tip?
Okay, I'm sorry for I'm trying to be more conscious that some people just listen to this audio in audio wise. So I'm just like trying to explain everything that I'm seeing. So, sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to be better about the fact that it's a podcast. So it's like now I think I'm overcompensating. Like, What's happening with the head? People, what he's doing is like going side by
I
side
was
in like
cranking
a
my neck
very, yeah.
like very pseudo. Like I'm not trying to mock anybody who would be in that position of trying
No,
to
he's
support.
trying to look like how I am when I'm trying to be like nice and be like understanding to the point of overcompensating.
But yeah, I mean that was like the moment with you that I realized like this is going to be this relationship will definitely be something more because
Mhm.
for the first time ever, I have a partner who literally understands the trials and tribulations that I go through, and of course, it'll be vice versa.
Yeah, yeah, part like I think now more than ever, more than in any other relationship I have, yeah, I had. I have. Wow, how many relationships do I have? No, I'm kidding. No.
Explain.
No, it's just that I appreciate so much that now when I think about my relationship, I think yes, partner is a perfect word for it. That's why I always say partner in work and in life, you know.
I chuckled when you
Yeah.
said that in an email.
Yeah, well, it's true because how else do I explain it? Like we work together, but also you're my partner. So without even realizing it, I was looking for someone who I could go through life with, grow through life with,
Hmm?
grow and go through life with, like together as partners. Like it's always funny because I come from a very patriarchal society. The Filipino culture entails that it's the man who brings the family through stuff as a breadwinner and stuff like that, and it's always a weird thing to have been ingrained that, like, even when I was going through law school, and this is just a quick pass at the situation, but even if, like, I am a strong, independent, empowered woman. As a woman going through law school, the question always was like, it was a joke that if you'd gone into law school single, you'd be single, and if you don't find a girlfriend, then you won't. A boyfriend, then you won't, because you'd be busy with work. And like, it was always a question as a woman, like, if you ended up as a woman lawyer, like, when would you start a family? If you end up with another lawyer, like, when would you take a break so that you could start a family? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was always this extra burden on a woman.
Hmm.
And there was always that idea that, like, at some point you will have to take a step back because the role falls to the man
Hmm.
to climb this ladder. And it's like, I mean, that's just one tiny example. I'm not saying that's what's happening to me, but like, there was all like, just it just gives you a peek at how the psyche is as to what roles are given to whom,
Hmm.
you know? And it's always like, to me, it was always finding someone to grow with. Oh my gosh, wait. I interrupt this programming by saying that my laptop needs to be plugged in.
Okay. So
So,
to everybody who's listening
babe,
and
do
watching,
your stuff. Like,
mhm,
entertain them. I need to plug
entertain
them.
them. Okay.
I don't know.
Um. This is entertaining. I don't know.
I'm
So
having something.
I do need to get technical a little bit though, as Issa's going to plug her laptop in. To anybody listening or even watching on the YouTube channel, you might start to hear a bit of a buzz. Like we said
Did that
earlier,
buzz? Did that buzz?
there's a tiny bit. I don't know if it'll translate to the final. That's why I'm saying you might hear it. I think I can very faintly hear it in the background, but who knows? Maybe the final product will be okay. So
Guys, welcome. What? Season 2, episode 4, and we're still doing podcast lessons, man. Podcasting is not as easy as it looks. You guys, last week was a trip because I uploaded the wrong file, and Joshua was like very, like, not like, I want to get into it, but I
I
sucked
was
at it, and
mahina.
then, like, yeah.
My audio was very low for anyone who doesn't know what
Mm-hmm.
that word means in Tagalog. But my particular audio track for some reason was not going into StreamYard the way it was
Uh-huh.
supposed to. So luckily I always do backup recordings. So I'm recording right now, and
Back up, back up. Tell me what you're gonna do now. Keep rolling, rolling.
if we have to use the backup, I am here to use it. But yeah, so if you hear a little bit of that faint buzzing in the background, our
Oh,
apologies.
now they're gonna hear it because we pointed it
Oh,
out.
true. Well, I mean, maybe so, but who knows? Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry, guys. Next time, I promise to charge my laptop before we record because I didn't realize it was gonna do that. So here's a quick podcast lesson for you: charge your shit.
hmm. So back to what we were saying, like, you know, and to the point of our relationship being a partnership, when the when we got into the what they call the recording studio in StreamYard for this, and I appeared, Issa's first reaction was, "Oh," when she saw my hair, and then she goes,
It
"Wait,"
looks it looks fresco.
but then after that initial reaction, that soon turned into, wait, let me do it too.
Yeah,
So now we're matching,
I'm
and that I love you
yeah.
for that. That's super
I'm
cute.
never normally the matchy person, but I think like the LDR thing is getting to me, and we try to deal with it the way we can. So let me be.
Well,
You know
with all of that partnership talk, I have a very, very important question for you, babe.
what?
Will you be my Valentine?
Yeah, I knew. I was thinking it. You said it. Yes. I wanna go on a date. No, I mean,
Isn't this
remember
technically
when
supposed to be our date then?
yeah, technically together. No, I mean, you know what? We said that maybe we should just write down the stuff that we're missing the so that we can
well,
celebrate when we're together.
Well, we did
We can just
kind of
put it.
start that list. I wonder if I can open
Yeah.
it. I wonder if I even have it still, but I'll open it. But
So
I think I
let
started
me
opening it, and you made it so clear that the top level thing on that list is picnic.
picnic. Yeah. Wait, you know what? I used to never do Valentine's. I'm a Valentine's Grinch.
What is Valentine's like in the Philippines? Can I ask that?
I never went on one.
Okay.
Even when I was in a relationship, other relationships here that could celebrate that, I never did it because I'm a Valentine's Grinch. I never understood the whole point of Valentine's. I never understood because you also know me. Like I like flowers, sure, but I'd be happier with a plant or food. Although flowers are nice, like
Well, I would get
now,
you
so
like,
now I am slowly appreciating it. I'm slowly appreciating the little things. I think it's the distance. So now I'm like, okay, that's so nice. Anytime anyone sends me a package, I'm happy.
mhm.
Even if it's like a work package now, it's just like a semblance of someone thinking of me, even if it's for work. It's so weird. I used to not be that way. I used to like shun everything and all it stands for because I'm like, I can see you. Why do I have to go and do the extra thing? But now I can't see anyone, so now I welcome it. But so I used to be such a Valentine's Grinch, so much so that I've told like previous relationships that we don't have to go out or do anything. But it's also because on Valentine's Day, you know how traffic is here, right?
Mhm.
That almost certainly doubles to 200%. You'll spend 3 hours in traffic. For reservations, you have to wait like
I was about
an
to say
hour, 2 hours
it
for.
the level or the amount of people going out that day alone is probably insane.
So I always made it a point to not go out on Valentine's Day and be mad about people going out on Valentine's Day because I'm like, why do that to yourself, huh? Huh?
Well, I
But then
mean,
now I'm
the
just
way
like,
that I
live and
would
let live. If they want to be cheesy and wait 5 hours, waste their time with their
Oh,
significant
sure,
other, sure.
that's their choice. That's the reason why in my past relationships, when it became clear that celebrating on the day was a bad idea, you would just celebrate on a different day. Like, not that big a deal.
I don't know. Again, I usually took things further, like hating on other people who in my mind were wasting their time, and also like shunning the whole thing altogether and saying that it's a Hallmark invented holiday just so they could sell shit to you. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna take it. If it's another day that helps me celebrate my relationships, I have turned into this softie. I'm like some like literally package delivery guy brings me a package now and I'm like, oh thank you, Kuya, you're so nice.
Well, I did
I'm
think
so starved for people. It's
true.
like it's so
Well,
bad.
same here, and I will admit, like I tried to look up ways of getting something to you on Sunday, but then I
Ah,
remember the
okay.
last time I tried to remember that
Yeah.
very mic I tried to buy for you. It wouldn't take my card because it was
Mm.
not a Philippine card. So
No, but it's the same thing. Remember, I was telling you, like, I was trying to shop online and it took me so long because it wouldn't take my cards.
Mhm.
Because they thought I was scamming them because it was from like a weird place issued card. So weird.
Yeah.
Like they would only take my Amex, which is weird because technically, like, it is Amex, but it's not because it's like Amex but handled by a different bank in my country. In my country, wow, that seems like so much this time.
But yeah, that's so. I mean, I otherwise I would have tried to get like at the very least like a box of chocolates over to you or something.
It's okay. I would be better. Like it's Kit Kat. Shut up. Babe, no, that's another thing we were sad about because remember the last time I was there, I was like, I'm not gonna buy chocolate or anything because I'll be here soon. I'll be back soon.
mhm.
I'm too lazy. And then like the pandemic happened. And so my mom has been on my case about it for so long. She's like, you didn't buy chocolates pa the last time you left. So now wala tayong chocolate. And I'm
You're just
like,
gonna
wala
need
ba-
you're just gonna need a side luggage just for that stuff at this point. Like carry
Yeah,
on
yeah.
size, but it'll be checked in. And then as it goes through the security thing, the airport security is gonna look at it like, damn, that's a lot of Kit
No,
Kats.
so there was no, that has happened. Wait, that has happened. One of the times that I came from the US and flew back, like your mom helped me pack, and like one of them was like a bag of chocolate,
Mhm.
and it was hand carry because like it's like hard to pack na in my bag. So like the guy who was screening was like, what? So he was like, what is this? I'm like, chocolate. What is this chocolate? He's like, chocolate party. I'm like, I love my chocolate.
Just use the excuse that I should be using in those
But
moments. Just say low blood. I'm hypo.
yeah.
I'm hypo. But yeah, so that would have been something that I would have sent. I don't think I would. I think personally, I wouldn't really do the flowers thing, or the if it was a plant, it would probably be like, and I know that orchids and that those are more desired than like a dozen roses.
I mean, you know me, because we were gonna buy your mom flowers, and I'm like, no, a plant will never die. I don't know why I said it like that. That's so weird. I'm sorry. I I don't know where that came from.
You rolled your R. But yeah, like that would probably be the way that I would have done it. But you know me, I would have Valentine's Day would have just been me making you food all day. Like that
I
probably.
know. That's why.
Now I know how to make
It's a
birria
distance.
tacos.
Oh my god, I want those tacos. It makes me so mad. I can't get the tacos.
coffee in the morning. Probably I don't know what we would have for lunch, but definitely those tacos for dinner. Well, you know what, birria tacos for lunch and like a wagyu steak for dinner or something like.
Oh, oh, guess what?
Hmm.
I bought. Okay, fine, not me. My mom got steaks. Finally, steaks that I can try to sous vide. Meaning it's thick. It's an inch and a half thick. So it's here. It's like really expensive to get those cuts.
Hmm.
But we finally went to a place and I got them, and I'm gonna do them next week.
What was it,
See how
ribeye or what kind of cut?
I
Do you
don't
know?
know
Oh, you don't know.
meat, meat,
It's hard to get
thick
those
meat,
cuts. I don't know what cut, but it's hard to get it.
but it's thick.
Sure, yeah.
Because we get like thinner cuts usually.
Okay.
Because we just do like on the grill and stuff or on the pan. But since we have the sous vide, and apparently it's like the minimum is an inch and a half.
Hmm.
So I just, I don't know. I'm just like thinking about this conversation. I'm like, what are we talking about? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's the beauty of it.
Well, we're just having people hang out with us for their Valentines. How about this? Do we have anything to share for the people who might not have? Because we are both.
Valentine's, I have an article for. Sorry, I'm plugging again. That was quick. We have an article on lit web. What is my website URL? Litwebsite.com.
LITTwebsite.com.
Yeah, lit because literature, travel, and tech. We don't have travel because that area is closed. But I have an article on what you could do for your Valentine's. It's not going out with a significant other, like self-care stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So that's cool.
I was thinking more in line of like maybe we have some single listeners and viewers. like
You're gonna matchmake now?
not really. It's just more like, they're what I'm trying to say is they're probably if they're hanging out with us and it's Valentine's Day, hopefully we are giving them, some company.
Yeah, and also enjoy single life. And one of the best moments in your life is being single and mingling and meeting new people.
Hmm.
And then you meet people like this guy, and then like that all tumbles down in a good way.
Good save.
No,
Good
but I
save.
mean that. I mean that though. Like, I had so much fun being single, but it was because I was trying to find who I was and who the person I wanted to be. Not so that I could ready myself for a relationship, but just so I could grow into me. And then I met you, someone who would support that.
Hmm.
And again, who I could grow with.
And so
And that
a
was just like the
partner to
progression.
support my singleness and
No, you know what I
I
mean.
do.
Because a lot of people, like when Valentine's come, a lot of people are like very conscious of their singleness and not happy about that.
And then they
And
make
like,
choices, and that's the wrong time to make those choices.
yeah, and like to me, it's like I
I would know. I'll say later. Go ahead. You can finish your
okay.
thought.
So for me, like what happened, like before you, I was in a 5 year relationship before you, and
Mm.
then I did law school. So when I did law school, when I started, that broke down. So before I started law school, I broke up with that person I was in a long ass relationship with. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad relationship. It was just that I felt that at that time we had grown out of each other in that our goals weren't aligned, and I had expected the other person to understand where I was going. It doesn't have to be like 100% aligned, but just to understand the growth that I wanted for myself.
Hmm.
But he had not understood that, and I was disappointed in that. Excuse me. And so I started law school, which, by the way, law school is a great distraction for heartbreak. I cried the first time about my breakup with someone I was in a relationship with for 5 years after 4 months because I was way busy stressing out about studying. And then after I did my final exams and we were done, I was out celebrating with friends about the end of the semester. I started crying because I was like, guys, I just broke up with my boyfriend.
4 months
That was how
ago.
bad it was. That was how bad it was. Like
Mm.
that was like how distracted I was with work. But my point is like, so after that, I struggled because when you've been in a relationship for so long, you're so used to having a person
Hmm.
that you tell stuff to. And like it wasn't like I missed the person. I mean, I did, but it wasn't like I wanted to go back to my relationship, but I missed having a person. And you sort of feel like it's so hard to find and build another person, like to get to that point. And like you sort of struggle and want to like just replace that void.
Hmm.
But then what you will soon learn is that you just can't replace that void. Like, yeah, it will happen when it happens and it will build itself up. Like, for example, when I met you, I had not intended on meeting someone. And I don't know if my English is right, but this is not planned. It's not like I met you and I was like, oh my God, he's going to be like the person who will fill my void. It wasn't that. It was taking one step at a time and it happening organically. And I think that's the way to go. You enjoying the process and not thinking, oh my gosh, I'm single right now. I need someone to fill that void. Who can I meet? Who between these people can I pick between to be that person? You don't just put in a person in a slot that you had intended for someone in your life. I feel like it's a progression. You slowly build around that and not slot in a certain person, you know?
I agree.
That being said, that being said, I feel like especially as a woman, because society tells you that how somehow society tells you that for you to have your end form, you have to be in this relationship and happy and with certain ideals, like, you know, that idea of what it is as a made woman. So I feel like it's time for you to explore and find yourself without all those attachments because the only person you will be pleasing at this point is yourself.
Hmm.
So that's why I feel like being single is such a magical time. Because I mean, to be perfectly honest though, it's not like it's much has changed with me because you understand everything. And I mean, not that like you let me do things, you know what I mean? But like you understand everything and I need no explaining.
Hmm.
And
Well,
that's what I love
we
about
let each
us.
other do whatever it is that we have to do,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the thing is, the long distance part kind of makes that somewhat built in, like
Mhm.
the alone
Babe, you'd be
time.
surprised. Some people aren't that way,
No, I
even
agree, and
with long
that was our
distance.
whole conversation in the last episode about like potential codependence and stuff like
Tune
that.
in. What?
Um,
Listen, if you haven't yet, listen.
so
Ah.
the the long distance part makes it so that our time apart is literally built in, as long as and the thing is, during quarantine, we know what the other person's up to. We're just at home or working, or that's pretty much it. There's really not a whole lot
Mhm.
left to the imagination, honestly. But still, like, even then, before COVID times, we would see each other and have that time together, and again, listen to the last episode about how we navigate those times. But also, like, when we're apart, we are in constant contact, but it is still time apart, and time apart is important for even long-term relationships once in a while to have. Not to say that you should like go on a break or anything like that, but you should have things that are just yours, and you should have hobbies or times that are just yours, even if you do them together, technically, like in the sense that
Together.
like I said, I'm looking forward to the time when we're both sitting on the couch, I'm playing a video game and you're reading one of your books. Like, that is us
Mhm.
doing our own things, even if we're right next to each other. Like, that
Yeah.
also entails that as well. um but yeah, I mean, the whole single life thing, yeah, I mean, the last time I sported one of these man buns was when I was what I call aggressively single. And
It's fun.
being single is like the random adventure generator. Like, just kind of anything can happen. Meanwhile, when you're in a relationship, it's not quite as random, but you still have adventures.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think that's the reason why I have a little bit of a stigma with like a low key stigma with this hairdo, is because it reminds me of a time when I not only had this hair, I also had slightly the personality to match.
Yeah. Wait, what is the personality of a
Well, I
man
wasn't
bun?
like a dick or anything, but like, it was like a hookup time, and I was definitely fiending for
But
like,
I mean, my
random
point is,
randomness in my life.
my
And
point is, there shouldn't be a stigma with like meeting people and going out and exploring that, right?
no, no,
Like,
definitely not. And that was what I was
yeah,
embracing. It was just that was, but the thing is, like I said before, if you are making your decisions in that line based
if
upon your
you're,
loneliness
yeah,
and based upon the fact that you feel a
yeah,
void, that's when it can get dicey, because a lot of people come up to Valentine's Day and think, oh, should I message that person that I know is not good for me just because I'm alone this Sunday? Like, that's not the
yeah,
right thing. And if I'm truly honest with myself, probably 35% of the 2 years that my aggressively single life was probably that. I literally was just
yeah,
swiping on Tinder looking for the next person to have some time with because I was lonely, or because I felt like I needed some sort of like connection with somebody,
yeah,
in any sense of the word. And it's not,
yeah.
I did not go about it in a way that really hurt people. I don't think. Maybe there were a couple of hurt times for both parties, but by and large, I did my best not to be destructive in those moments. But I know that it can happen.
I had in my single time, there were, I mean, it's a learning experience. I'm not hating on you if like that's what you did, because we all do what we can to cope. Because I also had this weird phase where I just saw someone who I knew was a complete mismatch. Because this person, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it, he was a complete doofus. This is the smartest. He wasn't the smartest. He never had like great conversations. He was not. I met him at the gym. And let's just say that the muscle he used most wasn't the one here. I was pointing to my head, podcast people.
Listeners, yes.
Okay, so at some point I was like, maybe I'm so busy with my law school life. Maybe I just need someone who I need not stimulate with conversations to just be there. That was a mistake. That was a very big mistake. And then there was a point where I had actively stayed out of a relationship with someone who could have potentially been in a relationship with me because I was like, it's not gonna fit, and I need to put myself first and to put my needs, my me knowing what my needs and my growth first. So you are not it. As easy as it could have been to fall into a relationship with that person, I was like, it's not what I need for my growth. This is not it. This is no, you are
Mhm.
not it. It's it's also thinking about like yourself again. Like it's the time to be selfish, you know? And there's no shame in that, I think. There's so many people who feel like built-in shame for the singleness or being like picky or, all this or that, but there shouldn't be any shame in that.
I will say though, I understand the mentality because even on a chemical level, the hormones and the, I guess, endorphins, and what's the one that they say? What's the cuddle hormone? Is it
Serotonin,
is it serotonin?
oxytocin,
Oxytocin and serotonin.
might be oxytocin.
All of
Oxytocin, I think.
all of those things are powerful, and I get that not having that for some time, it can lead to self-doubt and it can lead to feelings of loneliness. I completely understand that. So don't feel guilty that you feel that way.
Yeah.
So don't think that you're some terrible person because you're fiending for it or anything like that. Trust me, no.
And
Like,
don't feel guilty for being alone, but on the other hand, don't feel guilty for being okay with
mhm.
being alone.
Yeah.
Being okay with being alone is, I feel like, something that each person has to learn. You have
Mhm.
to be okay with just yourself,
Yeah.
just you, just without anyone, just you. You have to not beat yourself up for stuff. You have to not hate yourself for being just with yourself. I
Mhm.
think that's a very important life lesson. And one, yeah.
Loneliness is different from solitude, and
Yes.
solitude
Yes.
is solid, like being, if you can be good in solitude, you can be good anytime.
Yeah.
Because what if
Yeah.
you get stuck in, what if you, I always think of this scenario.
What if you get stuck in a scenario where you can't leave your house for more than a year? What happens then?
And again, that is actually a perfect example. I had a weird other example that I was about to bring
What,
up.
you're in a cave?
No, I was going to say, what if you were traveling somewhere, and I always think of Japan, but suddenly you're by yourself and you don't speak the
Yeah.
language. You don't, like, you're literally alone in a place where there's hundreds of thousands of people around you, but you're still by yourself because there's all of these like barriers between you and everyone else. You got to be able to like make your own good time.
Babe, that's like lost in translation over there. You're talking about a movie.
Well, that wasn't what I had in mind, but it's always, for some reason,
I mean,
that's,
that was what happened, right?
oh, for
There
sure,
were people there and they couldn't connect and they found like
each other. Yeah.
a movie.
Um,
We could have gone to that bar when you were in Japan, but like
we will. We'll go.
I
We're,
I I I fucked up because I got lazy. And remember, someone asked me to go there, and I was like, "No, I want to stay in." And then, without realizing that was the bar.
put that on the list.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put that on the list. It's gonna be that, the Gundam,
Now there's a new one. There's a new one
the one that
with the
moves.
legs moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
What's
it
that?
moves super slowly, like
Yeah, but
almost
it's
imperceptible.
nearer. Yeah, I have a friend in Japan now, so
So do I. Her name's Ayano.
no, I mean a Filipino one.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, we have
Patrick,
friends in Japan. What are you
from
talking about?
Discord. No, yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Um,
Wait, it's funny story. Like, I love Ayano, but like another thing about language and how sometimes I forget that she speaks another language. It's like Clubhouse is an audio only platform, and she made a room, which I was like,
oh, you
jump
joined.
in. And like, I automatically joined. I was the only English speaker, and they were all speaking Japanese. And like, she was so nice to like be translating for a hot second. Like, she was saying what I was saying. I was just like, hello, blah, 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 just dropping in. But like, I felt guilty because I disrupted the Japanese conversation happening. I was just there. I'm like,
Hi,
hi.
everybody.
Yeah. And everyone's like speaking Japanese and just like immediately stopped. And I'm like, and she was so nice to be like, oh, this is my friend. She does this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, I have to go. I just wanted to say hi. I felt bad for disrupting the conversation, but honestly, I forgot
Hmm.
that she speaks in a different language. And so like me jumping in there would do that. Like
Yeah.
I literally forgot. So I mean, shouts out to her for being such a good sport about it.
Always, always. But yeah, going back to our little thing here. Yeah, like pandemic has not been the best time, obviously. Like I talked about how last week I was quite literally
Mm-hmm.
depressed. And in some ways I do feel that way still, but it's ebbs and flows, right? And I put myself into a space where I had like a new set in my office that I'm actually really happy about. Um, it makes it so that my video should be easier to make, and I'm trying to get out of my
Mm-hmm.
head in terms of my content creation. It's actually a long conversation I had with Nick this morning during Pocket Now Weekly, where Nick and I are actually thinking, in these moments, and I know he was saying it just as much, he was probably saying it more for my benefit, knowing what I've been going through lately, but he was like, we both will benefit from this. We should challenge each other and keep each other accountable and just create a structure for our daily work lives for a whole month. Just create that structure. And for me, I know the simple answer is get up early enough to get to the office at 10, and I can get everything done before 6. Like I know that that is what it is, because that's how effective I'm trying to make my office as a workplace. So that, my point being is, if you do find yourself in those moments where you miss the serotonins, the oxytocins, and all that other stuff, um, structure might help, honestly. Creating a structure in your life that you can, that could be your safe zone, that you know exactly what you're going to do every day, so that it's not just going to be you all of a sudden realizing you don't have anything to do at some hour during the day, and then you get depressed again because, oh, I have nothing to do. Like,
It's funny you say that because for me, I've learned that sometimes the opposite is true.
mm-hmm,
I've created structure for my videos for the last few months, and I've had an editor come in, and it's been like clockwork. Like it's been coming out. Like was it December and January? I had like an increase in videos,
mm-hmm,
but then I was feeling in a rut because I was feeling like it was not like it was so monotonous for me that I had felt creatively stunted. Although I know that's not the case. But I'm that type of person. The reason why I thrive in this work is that my tasks change. I can't be doing a job where it's so monotonous. It messes with my brain. I cannot. Like I have to be shooting one day, writing the next, doing social medias the next. Social medias. Social media collective now. Wait, is it the now? I'm not sure. I'm not gonna think about that right. My point is, I have to be changing things up. So for me, it's the opposite. When I don't know if you noticed, but like I have paused like my production because now I'm trying to come up with a new template for my new videos because I had to change it because I was not feeling happy about it, mostly because it was the same thing over and over and over.
well,
And for
it's ebbs and flows, because you created that system out of a need, because just winging it all the time was
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
not as sustainable as we thought. So there are times when one, you have to do one as opposed to the other,
Yeah.
and
No, for sure. It's just that me personally, I get bored.
mhm,
And so for you, if it's like needing structure so that you can work, for me, it's allowing myself to change up every now and then
mhm,
so that I don't get bored because then I feel like I'm stuck in a rut.
mhm,
So whatever works for you, right? But like it's funny. It's just funny that like yes, what you said makes sense and I do ascribe to that every now and then.
yeah.
But it's
And
also for me.
I'm sure after that month of me and Nick doing that, it's going to be like, all right, I got, because not that we'll go on a long tangent about this, but apparently here in LA, I can finally get
Mhm.
vaccinated in the next few weeks.
Oh yes, do that. Please do that.
Yeah, so I'm
I mean, if you can do it.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting excited because like I feel like when people I love get vaccinated, it's one thing off my brain that I worry about.
Hmm.
You know what I
I mean,
mean?
I'm worrying about my parents more than anything right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. So my sister works in the big government hospital. She doesn't deal a lot with the COVID patients, but because it's a government hospital and they didn't plan it out well, even if she's a cancer doctor, there are times when she is pulled out to do work in the COVID wards. Yes, she doesn't do that a lot, and like they get tested before and after. they do that because of course she's in Cancer. She can't be like infected when she goes in to see her stuff. So like it's very like for her it works out, but she might be vaccinated in the next in this month because of course health workers should be given priority. Should be. I'm
Yes.
saying should be. I'm not saying all the time they are here. I'm saying should be. It's a whole different conversation as to what goes on behind the scenes. So she should be getting vaccinated. So I was like, okay, so she's okay. In my mind now, I'm like, if my parents get vaccinated anytime soon, that's I'm gonna
It's a
be
load
like
off.
super chill, yeah. Because I mean, the reason why, and I've mentioned this before. I think the reason why I don't also go out personally is because I live with my senior dad, and I don't even want to risk that.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
So my what I was saying was the I know that probably after the month of me and Nick doing this whole process, I will probably have been vaccinated by the end of all of that, which means I'll probably feel like changing stuff up again and starting to wing things again.
Yes, yes,
but
yes,
it did
that's cool.
honestly. But the reason why I felt the way that I felt about the reason why I'm saying like structure might help is because that was literally the remedy for me. So in me feeling very lonely and sad last week, I knew that I had to make my work so simple that even if I'm going through those things, I can do it still. So that's what I'm saying. So if for anybody out there who's feeling those feelings, like, you know, maybe putting a little bit of structure to your day so that you keep yourself, you know, not really busy, but you keep yourself to a structure that keeps your mind on whatever it is that it needs to do, especially if you have things that you have to do like we do. You know, it might help, because in those moments where I don't have a set plan, I find myself just sort of lounging in my office, and it just turns into like the mind can wander, and there could be other things that happen. For me, it's in this house. My office definitely feels like a workspace, and I love it now. But in this house, if there's a lull in my work, I'm just browsing Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I end up lying down playing video games, and I feel the only time I do feel like the only time I do feel less depressed and sad is when I'm playing my video games here in the house, honestly. Like, because those are stories. I have no stories. None of us have stories. It's quarantine. So to me, enjoying stories is how I'm coping, and that's video games for me. And yeah,
I have no other input.
I had to. I might. Did you hear the Rolodex in my head when you had that?
Yeah.
When you had those few seconds of silence,
like,
I was like, I better feel the silence. I better feel the silence. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna
like,
say?
I have to
Oh,
say
I have new glasses.
He's waiting for me to say something back after that. I'm like,
yeah, and then you
can
hear
that I have no input. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I have new glasses. Did you see my new glasses? Let's check this out.
No, it's like I don't know. I feel like, so this whole chat wasn't very structured. We had planned on structuring each of our episodes and be like, yeah, this week we talk about this phone, and then they connect to our lives.
Our tool for structuring the show actually crashed this morning. I woke up and Notion wasn't working, and I was just like, how am I going to live?
You know, so many people are like wanting to do Notion because of your video. Like even our friend Sivan, shouts out to Sivan. He's like, he listens to the show. He's like, yeah, I saw Josh's video and we've been wanting to try it out for our stuff because like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like I want to try it out, but like, you know me, sometimes I can't be fucked to learn something. I made one and now I can't even sign in.
Yeah, there's a learning curve to it. And to be honest, the reason why I haven't put my templates up is because they are fairly personal to me, at least for now. And I want to structure them in such a way that makes them universal. Because, for example, the GIFs that I use in my daily guide journal, they're wacky GIFs, and one of them is of The Rock, and I'm a big fan of The Rock. And like,
I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't work for other people.
I guess I need to get past that hurdle. Because I also have this sort of imposter syndrome of like, have you seen these other creators' Notion setups? They're so crazy, like complicated and robust, and databases on databases. Are you
telling me that your Notion isn't complicated? Because my brain can't wrap my
compared to theirs, and then you look at mine and it's like, good morning.
Babe,
go make your coffee.
I can't even sign into my Notion. Like, don't be. it's complicated enough.
Okay,
And
fair.
there is also value in simplifying things. So
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
don't be imposter syndrome. Like
All right.
it's a lot. I can figure out what Gmail I used to sign in.
Yeah, you should
Like
figure
keep on
that out.
opening different browsers, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Where did it? So you're fine. I think you're fine.
Well, you should figure it out for sure.
Yeah.
Were there any last things that we wanted to like? It
Ooh,
became
last things.
it did become a Valentine. It did become a Valentine's episode, more or less. So
I
that's
want
good.
dokboki.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so a part of me wants to learn how to make it. It's the next thing.
Oh,
on
my
my
mom
list.
knows how to make it now.
Okay, because I've seen the
Yeah,
kits. They actually have a kit in Costco now.
Yeah. Yeah, so my mom got that and she was like, I can make the so my mom can make what is that? Jubu jjigae. My mom can make jubu. Like she makes a mean jubu. And then so now she has even learned how to pre-make them so that she can just like reuse something and then heat it up to make them really easy.
Nice.
She's learned how to make jubu jjigae. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like we mess around with how it's pronounced because we can't really pronounce.
Jjigae, I think.
No, that's another thing.
Oh, it's different.
I think I'm talking about the soup, the Korean stew.
Yeah, where you can put anything in it, including spam.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now we're both looking it up, aren't we?
We put
Buddha
so many
jjigae.
things in it. Yeah.
Yeah, army stew.
Yeah, that it's really good.
Yeah,
it's
Buddha
one of
jjigae,
our staples now. And then we've been doing so now we're not even gonna ever go to a Korean place because we've figured out where to get Korean stuff so we can do the barbecue at home.
That's probably the first thing we're gonna do when you're here is our indoor Korean grill.
Yes. And then
unless we're all vaccinated, then we'll just do outdoor dining.
Oh, maybe I can get like the grill. That same grill for us.
Yeah.
What else? And so she's been able to do like that, the tteokbokki.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't made like a big spread though, because like it's like a lot of hard work. We can if we wanted to. And I think right now she's making ribs or steak or I don't know.
With the rub?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, do you guys still have the rub?
I think we have a little bit left, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my mom always asks when I'm about to visit, she's like, do they want more rub? Do they want more rub? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I'm blacking out. I think like all my energy went to the first part of the show, and I don't have any more coffee.
That's fair.
And
we basically
it's almost lunchtime, and I'm like,
yeah, it's basically been an hour. We started talking about food, and I think it's one of those signs is when we start just talking about food, clearly we're hungry or we're ready for our meal.
I'm just like. I have nothing. I think I went like 150 to 0 right now. Like I'm just like do you notice? Like I have no input now. I'm like,
well, it was funny because I was thinking earlier that a lot of our episodes are you going from 0 to 100% coffee, and
I went from 150 because I had like half a cup before we did it,
exactly,
and just finished this. So like usually it'd be like 0 and then like it would build up.
You'll
and now
up,
I came in at like 150 and now I'm just
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we just say this, babe? Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day!
That was so forced.
My inner Grinch is getting the best of me. Now I'm now realizing that once I put down this phone, wow. Oh, did you see that TikTok where if you ask a kid to be on their phone, they don't do this?
What do they do? Oh, that's funny.
It's a smartphone. And then when you ask them to take a photo, they don't do this. Okay, I'm sorry again, video version. We're talking about how you hold the hand up to your ears when you're on a phone, and like younger kids do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do like the action to take a photo, they don't do like the typical you're holding a camera and you're clicking the shutter. They do this. Like
wow.
They hold their palm up and they press a button.
That one's a little bit weirder, I admit.
Yeah, because cameras are in phones. So ask a kid. I don't know where you're gonna find a kid. Ask a kid.
Excuse me, little boy. Are you vaccinated?
Ask a kid how they do, like how they take photos and how they hold, like how they sign. Like what do you call that? How they mimic
Yeah.
being on a phone.
How they mime it.
How they mime being on a phone and how they mime taking a photo. I mean, there's a whole different conversation about how, like, when Filipinos ask for the check, they
They make
give
the
you a
rectangle.
square.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or the
they make a
square.
rectangle versus like signing.
Writing. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a wholly different Filipino thing. But
Yeah.
interesting thing. We are old.
Speaking of like younger trends and whatnot, what's funny is I should have been the one. Maybe it's because I took like a very short nap before the show, but I had to because I meant to say this earlier in the show, but I had McDo today.
What?
So
What you have
I went to pick
today?
up these new glasses. I got prescription
Ooh.
lenses in these Echo frames. These are Amazon frames. So
Mhm.
now I pretty much always have speakers on my face. And the on the way back, I thought of going to McDonald's to try and get the special Pokemon Happy Meal.
What is everyone's talking about that?
So
What is it?
Pokemon is celebrating their 25th anniversary. So they
We're old.
the Pokemon company teamed up with McDonald's to when you do a Happy Meal, instead of a toy, you get a small mini like starter pack of 4 Pokemon cards. And I think for the vast majority of people who got them, you get a special holographic card, which back when you would buy Pokemon cards, that was rare. But in these Happy Meals, like a lot of them had it. So people were going nuts for it. So our buddy Flo, I don't know if Flo listens, but shouts out to Flo.
Hi, Flo.
Flo had a very like relevant tweet that was of an article that said adults are ruining the fun by buying up all of the Happy Meals so that they can scalp the cards. And it was like when I read that, like I was just like, wow, we are assholes. Like we people our age are not letting kids have fun. Like that sucks. I wanted to go because I just wanted to get in on the fun. I wanted one. Like it comes in a Pikachu box. I would have gotten chicken nuggets with fries and a small Diet Coke. And I would have just had the cards and I would have made a quick TikTok on it and be like, hey guys, hey, Pokemon cards, woo. But when I went, 2 things. Number 1, I went up to her and I said, do you have the happy hour? And that was the wrong thing to say. I was like, happy
hour.
happy meal. I'm the adult. And then 2, she said, it's sold out literally everywhere.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So instead, I got a Big Mac. And
I mean,
then I
coming from a kid who never got a Happy Meal in her life, except as an exception. I've told you this story, right?
No.
You weren't allowed to get Happy Meal?
No. You weren't allowed happiness?
No. So my dad basically, in so many different explanations, told us that when we go to restaurants, you go there for the food and not the toys. And basically, like when you buy a Happy Meal, it's literally a smaller meal. Like I don't know if you guys know, but like
it's the most hipster foodie thing I've ever heard.
We have very sad burgers in the Philippines, which is why Filipinos go crazy over In-N-Out.
That was
because we have very, very sad burgers.
Do you remember that was my first meal with you in the Philippines?
Burger King?
No, was it Burger King or was it?
It was Burger King, and it was a sad Burger King.
Was it? Okay.
Burger King used to be the best burgers, but now they've downsized too because Jollibee bought them, and now they're cheaper burgers, but they're tiny.
Yeah, like, I surprised you at the airport, and then you guys brought me to the apartment.
King. Oh no, Wendy's.
No, we met at Wendy's.
That was a different burger. That was like just like not a franchise. Yeah, no, Burger Machine. No. Definitely not.
Okay.
Burger machines are even smaller than Jollibee burgers.
Yeah.
It's paper thin patties. And also 2 for like 40 pesos. What the?
Yeah.
I don't know. So the joke always is what do they put in the meat because it's so cheap. But it was actually like a different burger joint that's supposed to have like better burgers. So what we had that first meal, those were the good burgers, and you were like they're tiny, but those were the good ones actually.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had a Big Mac, and it knocked me out, obviously. But you know what? A Big Mac is one of those comforting things. And you and I have talked about Denny's in the past in these same terms, where you know exactly what food you're getting, and that's why it's comforting. Like no matter what Denny's you go to, no matter what McDonald's I go to, it'll always be the Big Mac.
Denny's in the Philippines, the first Denny's was put beside one of the big bars.
Mm-hmm.
I've never eaten at the Denny's sober. I
Fair.
remember I called you from a Denny's and there was a shoe on the table and one of my
Mhm.
friends were passed out. I've never eaten in Philippines Denny's sober because we always end up there after a night out. So many things have happened in that Denny's. I cannot there was this girl in the I can't remember. There was a shoe on the table, I remember, and then my friend couldn't find her shoe.
I
And then
remember
there was
you. Yeah, I
another
remember
person
your
with a
drunk call.
platter, and I'm like, who was this person? Like, why were they eating his food? Yes, so Denny's for me, I can't even remember the food.
Okay, but here, at least in my experience, if you even somewhat like the food there, then if there's no other choice, you can go to a Denny's because it will literally always taste like that. So
Well,
no matter where you are.
So my other memory of a Denny's was when we were there as a family. My dad decided to drive like us to a Disneyland, which is funny because for some reason my mom didn't pack snacks. She packed a box of chocolate each. So I had a box of Kit Kat, and my sister had a box of Crunch, and my brother another box of something. And for some reason that was our food. Best day ever. Um, But then we got lost in the freeway and we kept on like just going around in a circle, exiting the same way and couldn't figure our way back. And like at some point my dad just decided to sit at the Denny's and just look at a map. This was pre-internet. I don't know why my dad was so brave to have driven whole family in the US figuring out wherever anything is. We were lost. And so it was late and we ended up at the Denny's trying to figure out how to get back to the house.
Wow.
That was one of my memories at a Denny's.
All right. Well, I think at some point we forgot we were recording a show, and
oh, that's true. Hi,
so
everyone. Welcome to the podcast.
So when you intro this, just let everyone know that for the last 15 minutes of the show, I think it just kind of flies off the rails. But yeah, I think
this whole show flew off the rails. That was the whole point. This is a Valentine's Day.
We did a pretty good job of like talking about Valentine's and relationship stuff.
But did we really?
We did fine. We did fine until about minute 45, and then we started to ramble on for a while there. So,
but I mean, it's the beauty of life.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. All I'm saying is that's what we did. So, yeah, I think before we go too far off the deep end anymore, you should probably get some food in you.
We are gonna say,
yeah.
What? Okay. I'm ending this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And that was our latest episode of Technically Together. It was a Valentine's Day date. Thank you so much for joining us.
It was technically a show.
Yeah, technically a show. Technically Together. Technically Valentine's Day. Podcast lesson is, well, it's the same thing. Just try until you succeed. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and video version for those of you who want to see what else is going on is on YouTube, Technically Together. Bye!